This is Matt for Into Boxing. Delighted once again to be joined by the legend that is Barry Jones. Barry, first off, I'll kick this off. How's things?
Yeah, good. I'm back in my home city, which I don't get to come to too often. So, yeah, looking forward for tonight.
Where are you based then? You don't come back here too often. You're not live around those parts.
No, I haven't lived in Cardiff. I'm from Cardiff. I'm from the city, but I haven't lived in Cardiff for 22 years. Yeah. I moved to London, Hammersmith, and I went to Twickenham. And I'm in Surrey. So, yeah, so I'm
quite far away then.
Yeah, some skint.
Don't give me that. You're working for two companies this weekend. Talk to me. We'll dive straight into this main event. Joe Cordina gets his big chance. I feel like we've been talking about Joe Cordina getting a world title shot for the past 2 or 3 years now. Tough fight against Ogawa. I think some people are overlooking him. He looked great on the scales for me yesterday. What do you make of this fight?
Yeah, it's the acid test, I think, for Joe. And, he's ready as he'll ever be. He's 30 years of age. He has all the skill in the world, and physically, he's not going to get any fitter, faster, or stronger than he is right now. So, time is right, but he is up against a really good champion, a guy who has a good work ethic, good power. He's not the monster puncher that. He's not the monster puncher that people make out he is, but he can knock you out. He does hit hard. And he's committed with every punch, so it's going to be a hard fight for Joe. And I think I've been saying this all sort of last week or two, the boxing's going to get Joe over the line. His natural abilities, boxing skills is what's going to win him the fight. But he has to show resistance as well. So he has to, at stages, hold his feet, maybe try and push Ogawa back if he can, but not get drunk on his success. Not allow Ogawa too many opportunities to fire back with you when you're throwing punches, and that's going to be getting the tactics and the mix right with holding your feet and moving your feet. Yeah. That's going to be how Joe wins or loses the fight.
I spoke to Conor Benn at the press conference, and he says
he's crushing it.
Oh, what do you think?
He's crushing it.
He's crushing it in the gym. From what he said, both are crushing it in the gym. He said Joe Cordina, when they spar, he hits a lot harder than you think. He says, and they give each other a receipt every now and again in that gym, and he says he does have a bit about him, and he said that his natural ability, he said he could blow up to 16 stone and he'd still be unbelievable. Do you think that's the difference in sort of the levels and what could, like you mentioned there, get him over the line? The fact that he's just got that natural ability to box move and has that know-all from what he did in the amateurs.
Yeah, of course. Well, he's had a massive amateur career, so he's learned his trade. He's a natural sportsman, as we know, the football and the rugby, and he's one of those kids who we all hate because he can probably turn his hand every. Yeah, he'll be good at anything he puts his hand to, and that helps. Having that natural ability helps, and I'm sure he does have more pop in his punches, and the good thing about that Tony Sims gym, they all learn off each other. Yeah. You got Felix Cash over there, and Conor Benn and John Ryder and Craig Richards. Craig Richards with Peter Sims, but he's still on the same sort of gym, and many others as well, of course. So they've got loads of fighters there just to learn off, bounce off each other, make each other better, which is fantastic, and that helps. Success breeds success. Yeah, I think the natural ability gives him the upper hand for me, but there's unknowns about Joe. You might see it in the gym. We haven't seen Joe in a war of attrition. Yeah. Not saying he hasn't got it in him, but we haven't seen it. We haven't seen Joe take a big shot. I'm sure he can take it, but we don't know, and he doesn't know. You don't know how you're going to react when you're being hit, and it scrambles your senses. Nobody knows until it happens, and we haven't seen Joe with any sort of fighter that's looked like giving him that test. But he's in a fight Saturday tonight, where he's in with a fighter who, if he hits him right, will hurt him.
It's interesting for me because certain fighters you see almost like perform to the level of who they're fighting against, and I think like we saw like when Jack Cattrall fought Taylor. I mean, obviously Taylor was favourite, but we'd never seen Cattrall reach them heights in terms of performance before. Do you think it'd be a case of Joe could, as the opponents get better, he'll just keep elevating his game to match whatever's in front of him? That type of fighter.
Potentially, but again, it's one of those things it's almost like an intangible. You can't put your finger on it because you don't know. I think it'd be lazy of me just to say he rises to the occasion of the opponent he faces, because there's no basis for that. Yeah. To be honest, Kabanov was a big test for him, and he won. And I thought it was only one winner, but he had pockets of moments in that fight where he could have elevated himself and made it clearer, and he never. Yeah. For instance, I'm a Joe fan. I want Joe to win. I think he will win. But we have to be. I just don't want people to get carried away thinking it's going to be a walk in the park for him when it clearly is not. But he does have the ability, if he can get it right, not just technically but tactically right, that Ogawa could be chasing shadows and getting stung when he makes a mistake. I think that's important. Joe doesn't need the power to knock him out. He just needs to have enough pop in his punches to make Ogawa think before he attacks. But I do think with the way Ogawa fights at some stage, whatever Joe's doing, if he's not having success with Joe, he will just put pressure on him and be willing to take what Joe can give him.
I spoke to Joe after the open workout, and we were saying, look, it's always difficult to not overlook because we're only human, and he did sort of half say, it'd be the only thing that atop this would be fighting at Principality, huge arena. And he says maybe Shakur Stevenson, something like that. I mean, we know what Shakur can do. He's got to that level now where he's world champion. He looks unbelievable. How big a fight would that be if he could bring that fight to this city?
Yeah, it's not.
It's hard to not talk past this, but I think when you think of the doors that could be open, the potential.
Of course, I think Shakur Stevenson, that's a big fight. That's a hard fight to make financially because it's going to take too much to get him over here, if we're being realistic. And I think Shakur Stevenson's going to move up the lightweight very quickly because there's bigger fights in there, bigger names, and he's a big guy. But yeah, it'd be a great fight for British and Welsh and Cardiff boxing if we can get someone like a superstar like Shakur Stevenson against Joe. But let's just get this fight out of the way and let's get him a couple of defences home. See what Joe has done. He's been travelling around the UK, showing off his skills, and he's been building a fan base on social media and on TV, and that's right, of course. But he hasn't been building a fan base at home. So him versus Gavin Green should have been in Cardiff. Yeah. To be honest, rather than on the undercard with Lomachenko and Luke Campbell in the O2, should have been in a leisure centre. God forbid a sports promoter go in a leisure centre nowadays, but I think if that was in Sophia Gardens, that sells out. Kid from Perth, a kid from Cardiff, boxing for the British and Commonwealth title, I think it was at the time. Yeah. And for lightweight, and it's a great occasion. It's a great atmosphere. And then Joe builds a fan base. Yep. Because people being there, they want to come again, they want to get on board. No, they're building them at the world level. I'm hoping it's going to be packed out. I'm hoping it's sold well. I really do. But whether it does or doesn't, if he wins, get his next defence here. Not on a big bill on the undercard of a Joshua bill, anything like that. Get him here again. Headline. In the ice rink, it might be a bit smaller. They're getting over in Panas, just over the river there, and that's a great venue. Put him into Sophia Gardens Leisure Centre. It don't matter if you can sell 1,500 tickets, but there's only hold 1,000. It'll be packed, and it'll be a great atmosphere. And with all the TV cameras now, they can make it look like it's a big arena. Doesn't matter. Build his fan base, and it will go, like we seen with Joe Karzagi. It took a lot of years for Joe. Yeah.
Overnight, wasn't it?
No, I mean the ability was overnight, but I mean to build the fan base took him he was in almost, I think he might have been in double figures before he was really selling out in Cardiff. But Joe Cordina is from Cardiff. That's the difference. Like all these other fighters, even like Lee Selby, they're from Barry, which is close to Cardiff, but it's not Cardiff. Robbie Regan sold loads of tickets, but he's not from Cardiff. The same with Nathan Cleverly and Enzo Mack. You're based them in Cardiff, but they're not Cardiff bred. Yeah. Steve Robinson sold instantly when he won the world title because he's from the biggest council estate in Wales. He's from Ely in Cardiff, so there was a selling point straight away. Yeah. He's one of your own. You want to see him. That's just natural, and it'll go quicker than it would with the others. So I think if he wins tonight, and I hope he does, and I think he will, his next defence is here, and we know who it's going to be. Yeah. If Zelfa Barrett wins, it's got to be the fact that he's on the chief undercard against Cabana for the European title means that would probably be next.
You would think so. I was speaking to someone about that fight yesterday. It's a good fight, Zelfa versus Kermanov. What do you make of that fight? Looking at the last couple of the performances that Zelfa's put in, how do you sort of gauge that? Because it is a really tough fight, that one before. That obviously, like the end of the rainbow for him is, he could be back here fighting for a world title. Obviously, if Joe does his bit as well. What do you make of Zelfa's fight?
Yeah, I think he got a good chance. I think Zelfa is talented. And he's a weird fighter because he has loads of pop in his punches, so it seems. Yeah. So it seems. And I remember I covered most of his early career, of course, on Box Nation, and he looks phenomenal. Every time he throws a left hook, you sort of go like this, but he doesn't knock you all cold. I mean, he has knocked people out with it. I've seen it, but but even before that. But I mean, He's the only guy with Cabana who will be able to take it. I feel. I think stylistically, it's not a great match for Zelfa. I mean, it's a match where he can pick up the points, but the way Zelfa throws his punches, the way he moves, everything about him is really sharp and snappy. But with that, it means your tank empties quicker than maybe some other people who are more fluent. So with someone like Kabanov who stays on your chest, or he's in and out, but later in the rounds he'll get closer to you, as we see with Joe Cordina, and will push you all the time. Those last few rounds might be a bit of a struggle for Zelfa.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just having my breakfast. I'm all over the place.
No, you're alright.
But I do think that Zelfa has enough natural athleticism to get him over the line in a hard fight. It's European title fight, European level. It's a good level, and Kabanov is one of those fellas who won't go above this level ever.
Yeah.
But he'll be around this level for years. And he'll be a test, and he's going to win, and he already has, but he's going to win, lose a European title level for ages. He's going to be one of, and so it's like the perfect test, as it was for Joe, before you step up to the next level.
It's like the chap who Jordan Gill fought, is it Guefri, who was like 4 or 5 times European champion, but the great sort of, not gatekeepers, but it's a big door opener to that world level. So it'd be an interesting fight. Right, one last thing from me, I want to talk to you about George Kambosos, Devin Haney now. Woke up this morning and saw that Kambosos missed weight at the first attempt. A lot of talk about he's done this on purpose. I don't think any fighter really would want to risk that, especially when he's got 5 belts or however many there bloody is. What do you make of that fight? Devin, I think I read his dad is going to get over there in time to be in his corner.
He is.
Yeah, that's what I read this morning, which is a great boost for him, although obviously Judah's there as well and he's a terrific trainer. But that fight I think it's a brilliant fight. What do you make of it?
Well, it is a brilliant fight because we're going to get another undisputed champion.
Yeah.
Which, all of a sudden now we moan and groan, especially people of my generation, and I'm one of them. We moan and groan about boxing now. We're seeing good fights, but how many belts they have? But we're seeing what's this going to be like the 3rd unified champion in a couple of years. So that's fantastic. I'm sort of torn with Kambosos because he was brilliant against Lopez, absolutely brilliant. Did Lopez take him lightly? And because before that fight, Kambosos, who looked good, hadn't looked anywhere near that level.
Yeah.
He hadn't. He had a
Selby won it.
We had a good hard fight with Lee Selby. Now, a lot of people thought Selby won. It was close. He could have gone here. I thought Kambosos just nicked it.
Yeah.
And Welsh, I shouldn't say that, but I think, but I can understand why they thought Selby won because I can't. So but either way. That's not Selby, from a few years ago, 2015 Selby. That's it's still a good Selby, a world level Selby, but not the same one. So against the Lopez level is beyond that. So, but he boxed out of his skin, and he looked tremendous.
Yeah.
But I still think that he might just be a one-hit wonder. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think so. I fancy Haney, and I might be. I got Canelo Bivol totally wrong. But I fancy Haney quite big.
I've heard a lot of people say that, and I won't put it past that prediction, to be honest. Haney's a very good boxer, and you almost think, I look at that and think, if he can just do what he does very well, it could be quite wide. But then you look at Kambosos' performance against Thingy and think, there's a chance he could put it on him if he's prone to getting caught, Haney.
But I do think as well, Lopez should try to knock Kambosos out.
Yeah, he did. The first battle.
And Kambosos, and Haney won't try and do that. Haney was just trying to box and move, and Haney's massive for the weight. I know Kambosos struggle, but Haney's really big for the weight, and he got the long levers, the reach, and I think he can box, move, and he can hold his feet and rattle off combinations. And I sort of bet I think a lot of the other lightweights beat Haney, to be honest, actually as well.
Like who?
Lomachenko, Lopez. Oh, Lopez is not a super lightweight, isn't he? But I think they beat Haney, I do, but I think Stevenson beats Haney if he moves up in weight.
Great fight.
Yeah, but I do think, but I think Haney becomes, ironically, though he might be on that. Even Garcia might beat Devin Haney. Actually, Ryan Garcia.
You think?
Maybe. I think Ryan Garcia. You look at him from a technical point of view, and you think he does loads of things wrong. He never bends his legs when he throws punches, but he has to have natural super hand speed and natural raw power. Because Luke Campbell, I thought Luke Campbell was going to stand him on his head.
I thought he did really well, Luke, until obviously the shot that caught him out, which just took his breath away.
I thought he was going to give him a lesson, because I just thought Garcia, just technically really poor, just gets away with it because he got power and fast hands.
Yeah.
But that power is real, and when you got speed like that, you get away with mistakes. So yeah, I think you know, he could hit you and stop you from moving.
Let me give you one more sort of, not fantasy fact, I think it's a chance of it happening in the next couple of years, hopefully sooner rather than later. Giovanni Davis then versus Ryan Garcia. Talk to me about that fight, because Giovanni for me is potentially the most exciting fighter in the sport, and Ryan Garcia has got this huge following. It'll do big numbers whatever happens, but in terms of that fight, what would you say?
Giovanni Davis is potentially one of the big superstars of the sport, if he's not already. And he's also potentially one of the biggest disappointments in the sport at the same time, because his career, he sort of not been sat on a shelf, I wouldn't think, but also he should have been in bigger fights. No, and he's been on big showtimes, so he's having big, like, you know, big views. And he's doing tremendously well. Hi, Con, you good, mate?
So
yeah, man.
What's your prediction?
Just a superstar. What's that?
What's your prediction for later?
I think Joe boxes him, to be honest.
You think so?
Yeah.
Are you worried about power at all?
I'm worried about he gets it right with his feet and moving. Yeah, because like you see in the span, we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
No,
He's sparring Robbie Davis, myself. He's hit me with shots that I ain't even seen him hit me with. Do you know what I mean? I think, family, if there's in 8-ounce gloves, it's a shot you don't see, innit?
Yeah, and also, but I think that we haven't seen him in a war of attrition, and we haven't seen him take a good shot. I don't mean he can't do it.
Yeah.
But your only reservation is you don't know what happens, because you don't know what happens. We all don't. I don't know until you get hit with a big shot in a fight. You don't know you're going to react.
Yeah.
You think you want to react the right way, and I think Joe will.
Yeah.
I know where Joe's from. I know his family, so I know like they're tough people. So I think Joe is of that.
Yeah.
But you don't know until it happens.
Yeah.
But
Do you know what I don't think gets credible is his spite.
Yeah.
Do you know? He's spiteful, mate. I was having this chat over yesterday going, mate, you are one spiteful fighter, but everyone's coming up to me because I'm like intense. I'm thinking, mate, he's 10 times more spiteful than me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And when someone lands a shot, he loses his head. Like, yeah, he has to try and get him back 3 or 4. Do you know what I mean? So it's mad. I think that will massively show tonight.
But I also think, I've saying this all week about, for him, not to get drunk in your success. You know, if you do hurt the kid, still be a little bit, keep your brain open, yeah. Because that right hand of that Ogawa is a good shot and it's fast. So you walk onto the shot, you don't even make any mistakes.
Can we find out tonight about Joe?
I think it answers all the questions we need to know. Yeah. The thing is, though, he's so technically good that we still might not get the answers, because he could theoretically outbox him, yeah, stand him on his head. Yeah, he could do, yeah. But Ogawa's been in with good movers, and he closes the gap. And without being too stereotypical of Japanese fighters, there's not much they won't do, not much punishment they won't take to commit themselves to get over the line. You know, he'll walk through it if he got to.
I think so, yeah.
That's just the way they're built.
Yeah.
I've never seen one Japanese fighter, even if he's been knocked out, outboxed, I've never gone away going, he could have done more, he could have tried harder. Yeah. That's just not the whole makeup as a nation is the honour system, and you've got to, whatever happens, I'm just doing my very best. Even if they're not good enough, they don't lack commitment. I think that's important. But it's going to be good though, isn't it?
It is.
Good. Nice to see you, mate.
Cheers, Connor.
He was just about to tell us when he was fighting, who he was fighting. I'm sure.
Tell me after. Yeah. Well, look, I think we've covered quite a bit there, and appreciate you giving us some of your time as always. We'll try to catch up with you after the fight this evening, if you're not too busy bouncing between your many companies.
I don't come home to Cardiff often, so my mate's got a club and I meant to be going out, but I also got tickets for the football tomorrow as well. So
weekend.
Yeah, I know. We could be going to the World Cup, so it's a big day for Wales tomorrow. Though at the same time, as much as I want Wales to go to the World Cup, what's happening in Ukraine? The fact if they were to go to the World Cup,
wouldn't annoy you as much, would it?
It wouldn't annoy me as much, because just to keep the name, the country Ukraine, just to keep it in the limelight, so people see them all the time. And I think they went to the World Cup. What's going on? Just keeps him. Yeah, I think So I wouldn't be if we ever get beat and don't go to the World Cup. We've been there a few times where we've been close to going, of course, and it's been heartbreaking to be a Welsh football fan. Though not recently with the European.
Better times though. I mean, you've had a right run.
I'm a Cardiff City fan, so when I grew up in Indian Park, we were in 3rd division, 4th division all the time. Yeah, I know. Yes, I've seen Cardiff at Wembley. Never thought to see that in my lifetime. We've been in the cup finals, so I never thought I'd ever see that. And so and Wales have been to the European Championships and got the semi-final. Never thought I'd see. I never went. I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. But if they were to lose, as much as it would break my heart, I'd be glad it was the Ukraine. Isn't that weird? It's horrible, because it's
I think
bigger than football.
100%. I think Graham Souness pretty much said something similar about Scotland because
I nicked it off him actually. That's what I got it from. Yeah, it's right. I read it actually, and I'm not trying to nick his stuff, but he's right. It means a lot more than
100%.
But he was trying to make out that Scotland lost. They like give it away.
Oh no, they are a talented nation of footballers. Barry Jones, appreciate your time, buddy.
Cheers.